In this video, we'll be using regular expressions to extract the email addresses from this string. So let's store the string in a variable. Let's say this is the text variable. Execute that cell with Control Enter or Command Enter, and then create a new code cell using this button or Control J or Command J. And then here we want to write the regular expression code. Now, to use irregular expressions, we use the RE library, which stands for regular. Then it goes like this. You create a pattern object using re.compile. Now remember, I talked about a set of special characters that we use for irregular expressions, and we write those characters inside these quotes here in the compile method. So we want to extract only the email addresses. So the final output will be a list containing these two email addresses. Now, when you write a regular expression, you first have to understand the pattern, the string pattern that the output string has. So what pattern do we have here with these output strings that we want to extract? So we have characters, then we have at this symbol, and then we have some more characters which could be com, de, or other domain extensions. So we start from here. We could have any range of letters, right? Let's suppose for now that emails only contain letters. Let's ignore the fact that there could also be dashes in the email or underscores or and so on. We're gonna talk about that in just a minute, about those characters. So if there were only characters, you'd say something like square brackets, and in the square brackets you put a range, so from A to Z. Then, if you want a real character, not a special character, so these are spatial characters, it's like a language. By using those square brackets and that A-Z, you say, give me any characters from A to Z, and then you use at. So without square brackets, because it's a literal character, you want to get all those that have at. And then let's say again A to Z, and then dot, so a literal, a normal string for dot there, and then more A to Z characters. Once you have created your pattern, so this is the regular expression, or pattern in other words, then you create another variable. Let's name this matches. So what string matches we're going to have, what output strings. And then you point to that pattern that you created there, and then use the find all method. Find all gets as arguments, can you guess what? Well, the text variable, so text there. And let's print out matches. So on Jupyter, you don't need to use print matches if the variable is the last one in the cell. So you can just do matches like that. Execute with Command Enter or Control Enter. And this is the output. Now we are close, but we're not there yet. So you see that we didn't manage to extract the complete email addresses. That is because when we do this, so this part of the pattern says that give me one single letter from A to Z. We're not specifying how many letters this expression should match. So we want to fix that by adding plus here. With plus, you say detect or match any letters from A to Z one or more times. So it could be 1 letter, 2 letters, 3 letters, and so on. Let's suppose there are 7 letters matched, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 7 letters. So 1 or more. 7 is 1 or more. So we get 7 letters, then we have this at here. So up to here. If I execute this again now, you see, we're getting closer. We got all the letters before at, but we want to add also here a plus in the second group. So after the at, we also want 1 or more letters. So let's execute again. Yes, so example at example. So 1 or more letters, at 1 or more letters, then we have a dot, and then we have 1 or more letters again. So plus at the end also. And there we go, we got 2 email addresses. So that is an example of a regular expression. However, we didn't consider all the scenarios here. So what if we have this underscore here? Let's execute that cell where the variable is defined. Execute the other cell. And you see that we didn't get the entire email address for the first occurrence. So it started where the underscore ends, mple, mple.example.com. So what the search is doing here is that it goes to all the characters one after the other from the start of a string. It looks for 1 or more characters. So there are 1 or more characters here from A to Z. That's fine. The compile method will start to include the string, but then it finds out that after the letters there's no at, so it does not match the string. Then it continues with that. It does not match that because there's no at after that. And then it goes here. It does not match those letters from A to Z. It does not match those because they don't end with this underscore. And then it looks at mple, and we have this at, so it matches that at also. And then it matches the other strings, so A to Z 1 or more times. And then it sees that we have a dot, so it matches the dot as well. And then it matches the last part. So even if we had something like at blah blah, so that is not an email address. So I'm going to execute that cell, execute that as well. You see that this is not matched because the entire expression should be matched. And this does not have something before, it does not have letters before the at. So these letters here are not before that at. Therefore, it's a negative outcome. So back to these underscore characters, how can we get this email address also? Well, we have to change the way we think now. So what we really want to catch here is any character except white space. For that, we need to use this expression. So this symbol and a space, of course, between these opening and closing square brackets. So what this says is, basically this symbol is a negation. It says not space. So match any number of characters except space. Therefore, the compile method will look at the string. It will see we have this here, so no space here, but there's no at after that, so it ignores that. And then there's a space here, it ignores that, and so it goes here. It sees that we have any character but space, so it goes on. We have at, we have also these letters, which we also need to improve by using the same pattern. So any character but not the space, the white space. Now, should we use the same for the last part, so for the domain extension? I don't think so, because we don't have characters other than letters in that last part. So in that case, a -z is fine. So I think this is the final code that extracts all the email addresses from this string here, and you see that we have a list, a Python list made of different items, and each item is a string. What you do with this list afterwards is not my business. So you could send an email address to those, you could convert them into a pandas data frame and save them into a CSV file. It's up to your project needs. So this was an example to get you started with regular expressions. Now, I know you're still confused with what to use and when to use what. So in the next video, I'm going to give you a list of the meta characters that you can use with regular expressions. So all these are meta characters. So we have meta characters and we have normal characters. So this at is treated as a normal character, right? Because it's a literal match. And these other ones are meta characters, so A to Z and so on. So I'm gonna give you a complete list of these characters in the next video. See you there.